Your savings account is actually a metabolic tax you're paying with your lifespan. We're going to dissect why the majority of successful men in the West are functionally sterile before they even hit their prime, and how the financial system harvests your fascial tension to power its expansion. I'll show you the mechanics of auditory interference, how the mindless mumbling of those around you is a tactical weapon designed to erode your IQ and kill your focus. By the end of this session, you'll hold the architecture of void protocol, the exact blueprint to extract yourself from genetic rot and build a fortress of silence. If you leave now, you're choosing to die as a battery. If you stay, get on the floor. Give me 20. Let's bleed the system. The biggest lie you've ever swallowed is that time is money. It's not. Life force is money. Every dollar in your bank account has a biological price tag. Look at the men in the high-rise offices. They have the assets, but they have the eyes of dead fish. Their spines are collapsing under the weight of status, and their nervous systems are fried by a constant loop of digital noise. They aren't owners. They are high-maintenance livestock. The system doesn't want your productivity. It wants your compliance through exhaustion. When you sit for 12 hours a day staring at a glowing rectangle, your body enters a state of biological stagnation. Your lymphatic system stops pumping because it requires movement. Your fascia, the connective tissue that holds your very structure together, begins to harden, trapping your nerves in a cage of inflammation. You are literally turning into stone while chasing liquid assets. This is the compound interest of decay. While you wait for your 8% annual return, the system is taking 15% of your neural clarity and 20% of your hormonal baseline every single year. By the time you retire, you'll have the money to buy a house, but you won't have the testosterone to be the king of it. Now, let's talk about the acoustic rot. Why does it bother you when your mother mumbles to herself? Why does it burn you when your girl demands attention for her social media theater? It's not just annoyance. It's your survival instinct detecting a leak. In nature, silence is a predator's greatest asset. Noise is for the prey. When you are forced to exist in an environment of constant low-level auditory interference, meaningless talk, background TV, the hum of a city, your brain is forced to process junk data. This costs glucose. This costs focus. The system uses the people closest to you to keep you in a state of cognitive friction. If they can keep you responding to nothing, you'll never have the energy to build everything. Your IQ isn't static. It's a resource that is being bled out by the domestic noise you've been taught to tolerate. The infrastructure of your domestic life is a tactical containment field. Look at the geometry of your existence. You live in 90-degree angles, breathe recycled air, and surround yourself with the white noise of people who have no direction. Every second you spend navigating the mumbling of a stagnant household, you are paying a high-frequency attention tax. Your brain's reticular activating system is designed to detect threats and opportunities in the wild, but in the modern home, it is forced to filter out the garbage data of domestic triviality. Why did she buy that? Why is the TV on? Why is there a conversation happening about a person you don't respect? This constant filtering creates neural friction. You aren't resting. You are running a background process that consumes 30% of your cognitive glucose just to maintain a baseline of patience. This is the silent lobotomy of the middle class. The system wants you to believe that family friction is normal. It's not. It's a resource leak. In the ancient world, the tribe moved in silence or in purpose. Today, the tribe is a collection of fragmented egos demanding validation at the expense of your mission. They don't want your greatness. They want your availability, because your availability is their safety net. Let's dissect the hormonal cost of compliance. When you suppress your righteous anger to avoid a conflict at the dinner table, your cortisol spikes while your testosterone flatlines. You are literally signaling to your own DNA that you are no longer the leader of the pack, but a subordinate member. Your body responds by storing visceral fat, thinning your hair, and softening your muscle tone. You are becoming a biological beta, not because of your genes, but because of your environment. The Western woman has been weaponized by the market to be the ultimate chief consumption officer. Her need for attention is actually a proxy for the system's need for you to spend. If she can keep you focused on her emotional fluctuations, she can keep you buying solutions to problems that don't exist. You buy the house to settle down, but the house becomes a tomb for your ambition. You buy the car to show status, but the car is just a mobile cage that transports you between 2 points of exhaustion. You are being harvested for your fascial tension. Look at your posture when you are around the people who need you. Your shoulders are hunched, your jaw is clenched, your breath is shallow. This is the physical manifestation of a man who is constantly expecting a strike, not a physical one, but a psychic one, an opinion, a critique, a demand. This chronic tension locks your nervous system into a sympathetic state. You can't heal, you can't think creatively, and you certainly can't build an empire. The architecture of void is the only cure. You need to understand understand that silence isn't a luxury, it's a survival requirement. Without a zone of zero auditory interference, your brain cannot recalibrate. You are like a hard drive that is 99% full of temporary files from other people's lives. You need to wipe the disk. You need to realize that every meaningless talk is a microstroke for your ambition. Stop being the emotional janitor for people who refuse to clean their own minds. Your kindness is a finite resource. If you spend it all on understanding why they are stagnant, you will have nothing left to build your own velocity. The system loves a supportive man because a supportive man is stationary. He is a pillar, and pillars don't move. They just hold up the roof while the world passes them by. We are moving toward the digital castration phase. Look at your phone. It is the umbilical cord that feeds you the venom of social comparison. You see men who are winning, but you don't see the price. You see women who are available, but you don't see the script. You are being fed a simulation of reality to keep your biological urges satisfied just enough so you don't revolt, but hungry enough so you keep working. This is the glucose guillotine. The system feeds you cheap dopamine and high fructose entertainment to keep your brain in a fog. A man in a fog doesn't notice when his territory is being occupied. He doesn't notice when his kids are being programmed. He doesn't notice when his own girl is looking past him at the architect he used to be. Брат, наваливаем оставшийся массив для второй части. Сейчас мы вскроем тему финансового рабства через комфорт. Мы покажем им, что их уютная жизнь – это просто позолоченная клетка, где прутья сделаны из кредитных лимитов, а замок – из их собственного страха перед пустотищей. Это финальный аккорд части про социальное и финансовое подавление. The system has mastered the art of weaponized comfort. It doesn't need to chain your ankles if it can chain your desires. Look at your debt profile. Every credit line, every installment plan, every buy now, pay later scheme is a tactical tether. You aren't borrowing money. You are shorting your own future freedom. You are betting that the you of tomorrow will be willing to stay in the cage to pay for the comfort that the you of today didn't even earn. This is the mortgage of the soul. The word mortgage literally means dead pledge, mortgage. It is a contract that only dies when you do, or when the value of your life has been fully extracted. When you sign for that 30-year prison sentence in the suburbs, you aren't buying equity. You are buying a mandate to remain compliant. You can't tell your boss to go to hell. You can't pivot your career. You can't take a year of silence to rebuild your architecture. Why? Because the house is hungry. The house demands your 9-to-5 soul as its primary fuel. You've been sold the lie that softness is progress. The modern world rewards the soft man because he is a predictable consumer. He wants the heated seats, the organic subscription boxes, the safe spaces. But biology is binary. When you remove friction from your life, you remove the signal for growth. Your bones become brittle when they aren't stressed. Your spirit becomes brittle when it isn't tested. The hard times are coming not because of the economy, but because of the systemic softening of the masculine baseline. Look at the economics of the beta. The entire service industry, from therapy to high-end food delivery, thrives on the fact that you are too exhausted to take care of yourself. They create the stress, then they sell you the relief. It's a closed loop of extraction. You work to buy the convenience that allows you to work more. You are a hamster in a wheel made of luxury materials. This is the digital sharecropping phase. You build your brand on their platforms. You store your wealth in their databases. You communicate through their filters. You own nothing, not even your own thoughts. Every time you check a notification, you are checking your leash. The architect understands that true wealth isn't the number of zeros in a bank controlled by others. True wealth is autonomous velocity, the ability to move, think, and act without asking for a clearance from the social or financial grid. The mumbling around you, the opinions of your family, the advice of your broke friends, the demands of your girl. It's all designed to increase your social drag. They are the anchors, not because they hate you, but because they are terrified of what happens if you actually cut the rope. If you become free, you prove that their prison is a choice, and they can't live with that truth. So they will guilt you, they will love you into submission, and they will call your ambition obsession. Let them. The architecture of void requires you to become a financial ghost. You need to stop feeding the machine that keeps you small. Cut the subscriptions. Kill the status spending. Embrace the void of your own bank account until it becomes a weapon of mass extraction. Every dollar you save by rejecting their comfort is a day of freedom you buy back from the system. We are approaching the great decoupling. The world is splitting into those who are harvested and those who architect. The harvested will have the smart homes, the AI-generated entertainment, and the illusion of safety. The architects will have the silence, the hard assets, and the biological integrity to survive the collapse of the soft world. Choose your side, because Because the comfort you feel right now, that's just the anesthetic before the surgery. And the system isn't trying to save you. It's trying to see how much of you it can keep before you realize you're already dead. Your DNA is a battlefield, and right now, you are losing the war against your own ancestry. You are the descendant of men who strangled wolves to survive, men who navigated by the stars and felt the vibration of the earth beneath their feet. Your nervous system was forged in the fire of high-stakes survival, but today, that same nervous system is being used to browse for discounts and respond to passive-aggressive texts. This is genetic mismatch, and it is the root of your silent agony. The system has created a world that is biologically silent. There are no predators to fight, no territory to conquer, and no physical cost to failure. In this vacuum, your brain doesn't find peace, it finds entropy. When a high-performance engine is left to idle for years, it gums up, it rots. Your depression, your burnout, your feeling of being lost, that is just your DNA screaming because it has no mission. You are an apex predator being fed soy and likes in a padded cell. Look at your domestic environment through the lens of evolutionary biology. Why does the mumbling of your family drive you to the brink of rage? Because in the wild, low-level, purposeless noise meant a scavenger was nearby. It meant a threat was lurking in the periphery. Your brain is wired to pay attention to noise because noise equals danger. But in the modern home, noise is just noise. Your mother's chatter about the neighbors or your girl's complaints about her friends are auditory parasites. They trigger your alert state, but there is no enemy to strike. You are left with a massive spike of cortisol and nowhere to put it. You are literally corroding from the inside out. This is the domestication of the architect. A domesticated animal is one whose survival depends on being useful to a master. The system has replaced the master with social approval. You aren't working for yourself. You are working to maintain a status that was defined by people who don't even like you. You are paying a genetic interest rate that is bankrupting your future. Every time you choose harmony over your own mission, you are deleting a piece of the code that made your ancestors unstoppable. Let's talk about the financialization of breeding. In the ancient world, a man's value was his ability to protect and provide through physical competence. Today, that has been abstracted into credit scores and LinkedIn endorsements. The market has detached your value from your biology. This is why you feel a hollow emptiness even when you have money in the bank. Your DNA doesn't care about your digital wealth. It cares about your territorial integrity. If you don't own your space, if you are still answering to a landlord or a mother who treats you like a child, your biology will never grant you the alpha hormonal profile. You will remain a subordinate in your own skin. The system loves generational trauma because it's a self-perpetuating cage. Look at the people who raised you. They are the products of a soft world that taught them to value security over strength. When they mumble, when they cling, when they guilt trip you, they are trying to protect you by making you as small and as safe as they are. They are the genetic anchors dragging you to the bottom of the ocean of mediocrity. To become the architect, you must be willing to cut the cable. You must be willing to be the villain in their story so you can be the hero in your own. This is the entropy of the modern male. You are being told that your aggression is a problem, that your drive is toxic, and that your need for solitude is a mental health issue. In reality, these are your primary tools of extraction. The system wants to sedate you because a sedated man is a predictable taxpayer. They want you in a feedback loop of emotional validation. They want you focused on healing your past while they steal your future. True healing is velocity. True healing is building a bank account that allows you to buy back your territory. True healing is the architecture of void. The moment you close the door to your own apartment, turn off the phone, and realize that for the first time in your life, nobody is watching you, nobody is judging you, and nobody is mumbling in your ear. In that silence, your DNA will finally wake up. It will realize the war has begun. Not a war against wolves, but a war against the digital fog. You are the last of a dying breed, a man who still remembers what it feels like to be dangerous. The system is terrified of you. That's why it's trying so hard to keep you comfortable. That's why it's trying to keep you connected. Break the connection, embrace the void. The genetic anchor only holds if you keep holding the rope. Drop it. Let them sink into their own stagnation. You have an empire to build, and you can't carry the weight of their normality into the future. The time for analysis is over. The time for extraction has begun. You are currently behind enemy lines. Your home, your relationships, and your social obligations are the terrain of a war you didn't start, but one you must finish. You don't need healing, you need a tactical exit strategy. The first step of the protocol is radical de-escalation of the ego. The system wants you to fight back against the mumbling, because fighting back is a form of engagement. When you argue with your mother or try to explain your vision to a woman who only wants your attention, you are leaking energy. Stop. From this moment on, you are a ghost. You don't explain, you don't justify, you don't complain. You use their low expectations of you as a camouflage while you build your velocity in the shadows. This is the war chest logic. Every dollar you earn right now is a bullet. Every expense you cut is a day of freedom purchased. You must treat your current living situation as a resource extraction site. You are harvesting the stability of the soft world to fund your transition into the hard world. Eat their food, sleep in their 90-degree boxes, and endure their auditory interference, but do it with the cold eyes of a mercenary. You aren't settling down, you are stockpiling. The second step is the architecture of silence. You must find a way to create a void even before you move. If you can't change your physical location yet, change your digital one. Delete the apps that feed you comparison. Block the notifications that demand your reaction. Create a 4-hour window every day where you are functionally dead to the world. No phone, no talk, just you and the work. This is where your neural crystallization happens. You are hardening your focus so that when you finally step into your own apartment, you are ready to dominate, not just rest. Let's talk about the threshold of extraction. There is a specific number in your bank account that equals your escape velocity. You need to calculate exactly how much it costs to secure your territory, your first apartment, your equipment, and 6 months of absolute silence. Once you hit that number, you don't wait. You don't wait for a better time. You move. You cut the umbilical cord. You embrace the void that you've been terrified of, because that void is the only place where the architect can truly breathe. The final step is the great decoupling from guilt. The people you leave behind will call you cold. They will call you selfish. They will use every emotional weapon in their arsenal to pull you back into the orbit of their stagnation. Understand this. Your survival is not a betrayal. By becoming strong, by becoming autonomous, by becoming the architect, you are doing more for the future of your lineage than you ever could by staying small and supportive in the mud. When you finally turn the key in the lock of your own space, when the only sound is the breathing of your dogs and the hum of your own intent, the genetic anchor will finally snap. The 5 to 7 years of isolation you felt will transform from a prison into a weapon. You've been in the dark for so long that you've learned to see what others can't. You've felt the pain for so long that you've become immune to the comfort that kills other men. You are the hardened architect. The system tried to process you, but you were too abrasive. It tried to sedate you, but your hunger was too deep. It tried to mumble you into submission, but you found the frequency of silence. The void is calling. It's not empty. It's waiting for you to fill it with your structure. Get off the floor. You've done your 20. Now go out there and take what is yours. The extraction has begun.